Hello, my dear students! In this video, I'm going to cover our final assignment, which is the culmination of the work that we have been doing throughout our term. In it, I'll be looking at our prompt as well as our outline for it. So let's check it out. Please have your prompt open to follow along with what we have. So, first thing that we have is the goals that we have for our research paper, a little bit of information of it. We will be choosing an issue that we care about. Now, it's best to choose an aspect of it because, as L. Lenny Irvin said in his article, a well-tended garden is better than a large one full of weeds. So, choose an issue, something you care about, and you're going to propose something that will help to curb the harms of it. So let me actually read to you the intro that I've written for us. Throughout the span of time, humankind has had to continually seek out solutions to issues at hand. For example, the telephone was invented to facilitate a streamlined method of communication across vast distances. The microwave was brought forth as a tool for quickly heating up meals, etc. Our species has always had to adapt solutions to issues as they arise, from serious ones to lighter ones. We as a people have managed to move forward through ingenious invention and collaboration. This assignment is an opportunity for you to put your own foot forward by offering your own solution to an issue/problem. So what makes this research is that you're being asked to bring in at least 5 secondary sources. Remember, in our intertextuality lesson, we talked about how to bring in other voices, other sources into the conversation. And now is your time to do that, right? And we've been doing this with the current event where we've been working with our primary source, but here we're bringing in more sources. So it's a conversation that we are creating. Remember, just like we learned in our intertextuality lesson, we are the ones guiding the whole argument and integrating the sources into it. So that's very important to remember. Never just say, okay, here's what this article says or this book says, because ultimately that's like the lawyer example where if the lawyer gives the microphone to the witnesses, then that's the equivalent of you saying, here's what this book says, here's what this article says. So we're using the sources just as tools to help strengthen our own argument, but ultimately it will be us who will be navigating our own argument. So that's the thing. Choose something that you care about, and that will make this a lot more fun. So for example, if I was arguing for the importance of switching over to an electric car as a proposed solution, I would draw on my secondary sources to frame the environmental harm caused by fossil fuels. I'd use my research to explain how oil is the most consumed form of fossil fuel for energy conversion. I'd then move to forward the fact that our planet has a limited fossil fuel reserve. So as you see, I begin with my issue and I begin enumerating the harms, the primary harms that I'll be focusing on from my issue. And then as you're presenting your solution, and when we say solution, it doesn't mean you have to entirely fix the issue, but if it's something that helps to take strides in the right direction, then that is sufficient and it's apt as a solution. So once again, you're going to focus on the primary harms. You're going to enumerate the primary harms of your issue, and then what you're proposing will have certain solutions that will directly offset those harms. So it's a game of correspondence. How is it that what you're proposing as a solution will directly offset the harms that you enumerated for your issue? So as we are using our sources, we're talking about, once again, to frame the issue itself. Well, what is it? Why is it an issue? Who does it affect? And what's the big deal, So what? What is at stake? So give a little bit of context behind it and implications, like why it's a big deal, right? So what you're proposing, why will it work? And what might it be better than others, say, or things like that. So what are the costs of it? So when we say cost, it's not only money, it could be time or legislation or material. You tell me, what do we need to make this solution happen? So that's the cost. And do any pros outweigh any cons that it may involve for the solution? So ultimately, you're considering the viability of the solution. Is it something that will is actually possible to bring about, and that's the main thing. How will its benefits directly offset the harms of your issue? So for the format, as usual, MLA, so at least 2,000 words, 6 pages. So for sources, we want at least 5. In our module, we're going to have a workshop from our very own librarian that's going to talk about how to use how to find resources, and strive to have at least 2 from our Citrus database. So for the points itself, the essay itself is 125, having correct MLA is 5, and our workshop 20. So that is that. So here, check out the dates for our paper. The first thing we're going to have, of course, is our outline. So make sure to have that. As usual, convert your documents to docx or PDF before submitting it. And of course, we give credit where credit is due. So cite your sources. We have our in-text citations on point, as well as our works cited page to indicate what our sources were that we utilized. Remember, don't have AI write your paper, as that is cheating, and maybe report it to the Dean of Students. So do your work, and I look forward to reading it. Here's our rubric that you can check out. So next, I want us to talk about our outline worksheet, which is our very first thing that you should put your attention on, because that is our first deadline, right? Is our outline. So I've created here, first we have brainstorming of it. So you'll say, what's the issue that your solution? And why is it an issue? Why is it significant? Think about the primary harms that you will focus on throughout your paper, and you can list them here. Who does this issue affect? And then for your solution, what is it that you're proposing that will help with this issue and its harms, right? Its primary harms that you're focusing on. And why will it work? Focus on, once again, what are the primary benefits of your solution that will directly offset the harms of the issue, right? So think of it like that, and this is where you can make that clear. So what sort of research will you use to help support your issue, to frame it, right? And what will you use to help frame your solution? So meaning, like, to give more information about it, like what will you use? And then once again, what's the issue you're addressing, its harms? Make it clear how what you're proposing, that solutions will directly offset those harms. And you want to have your thesis here. So just be clear with it. You might say something like, if you're doing fossil fuels, you'll say like, fossil fuel is a current issue that presents some primary harms, including contribution to global warming, something like that, methane gas, or whatever it is that you're going to be focusing on. So just say it outright, and then you could say, to curb this issue, we should instead adopt, the utilization of electric cars, or whatever it is that you're proposing. This solution offers the benefits of X, Y, Z, and then how will those directly curb what your harms were that you just listed for the issue, right? So for the actual skeleton of your paper, how will you introduce the topic? Like, what might you do to hook the reader in? What information might you give to say more about this topic? And then your thesis. Feel free, guys, you can have more lines. You can just keep writing here. And for the body paragraph, these are some suggestions for potential topics for each. So let's say the first one you're doing it on understanding the issue. What is your topic sentence? And what evidence will you use to support that? Analysis is how you will put together both the topic sentence and your supporting evidence. So here's just some suggestions for body paragraph topics. Let's say this one's understanding the issue, this one's why this issue matters, and then you went to what's your proposed solution, and benefits and feasibility of it. And then maybe if you wanted to include counter arguments and responses, here's an idea. And then for the conclusion, once again, restate your thesis, and you want to zero in on, after reading all of this, why is it important? What are its implications? And then any sources that you'll use. Remember, guys, you need at least 5. So make sure to have that here. And once again, here's just some ideas for understanding the focus for your paragraphs. So that is our outline, my friends. Focus on that first. Happy writing, y'all. And remember, the main thing is choose an issue that you care about sincerely and try to have like an aspect of it so as to not get overwhelmed. All right, y'all, this is our final essay. Have fun with it. Happy writing, y'all.